Well, let's start this meeting, guys. Thank you all very much for coming. This is a huge deal for us. We're very proud to present to you guys some health benefits that we're able to provide. And we're doing that. We have the consultant on the line today, and we're going to talk to you guys about this. Today is November 25th. We have these benefits will kick in on January 1st. They are, which he will explain more to you, but they're optional. They're a la carte. You guys can take and leave what you want, what you don't want. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over right away to Jeff Barnett. Jeff, if you unmute yourself and be ready to go here. We'll turn it over to Jeff Barnett, and he is going to explain everything to you guys. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate the fact that I get the opportunity to speak to all you guys. Ryan and I were talking, it's been a couple of months ago now, and he asked me if there was any way that we could possibly offer all of his 1099 contracted agents benefits. And so we began to look a little bit outside the box. Some of the things we're going to talk about this morning are not traditional healthcare. And I just want to emphasize that, but it is health cost in reimbursement. It does cover anything that are a lot of things that you incur during a sickness. And they really work in three different parts. The first part is going to be preventative care. I'm going to go a little more into that in just a few minutes, but basically it covers doctor's visits and that sort of thing. And it applies to whatever the Affordable Care Act that's mandated on wellness. The other part of it is going to be what we call large cost sharing. It's a company called Sedera, and we'll come back to it in just a moment. And then the final part will be any kind of supplemental benefits that you need that cover different type things like accident, critical illness, cancer, and it also offers term and whole life. So the first thing I'm going to go through is really the preventative care. It's a product out there from Safeguard Health Company. And it is primarily there for anyone that really goes to the doctor a lot. If you have a lot of doctor's visits, it's a preventative care policy that you can purchase that basically only covers doctor's visits. And that's really all it amounts to. If you don't go to the doctor a lot, if you don't have children or you don't go every time you have a sniffle, it's something that you really don't want to consider. The second part of what we're going to talk about is the large cost sharing by Sedera. Some of you may have heard of the Christian healthcare sharing. This is very similar to that. It is not healthcare. What it is a cost sharing plan. What you can do is pick an amount, and we have $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,500, and $5,000, and we call these unshareable amounts. This is your initial cost if you were to be hospitalized or have any kind of illness. At that point, that's when the shareable amounts would kick in. And depending on the limitations based on the plan, because there are a lot of different plans that are available, what we do is customize these based on what your specific needs are. The reason I say customize, obviously the $5,000 unshareable amount, meaning that you will pay for the first $5,000, is going to cost much less than if you only want a $500 unshareable amount. So the cost really kind of depends on what your specific needs are. I know myself, I have a large unshareable amount. I'm a 1099 contractor just like you guys. I have to purchase my own medical care, and that's what I do. And then I actually come back with supplemental things that actually help me cover my medical costs from $1. To kind of explain what happens is all of these funds that when you pay a premium go into a pot, and that pot is held. And then as people of the groups have claims and they have exceeded their unshareable amounts, then it starts paying out to the shareholder as needed based on what their medical needs are. And I really just want to kind of open the floor right here for that to see if you have questions. The purpose of this call is not to get into your personal needs, because we have benefits counselors that will actually talk to you specific to those needs. But if you have general questions about how this works, I'll be more than glad to answer before we move forward. I'm sorry. I'll take silence as a no, right there.
Okay, Jeff, you're going to go on. That's fine. I've got some questions. I guess I'll wait till the end. But you talked about covering from $1. Are you going to get more into that?
Yes, I'm going to get into it in the third phase.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Carry on.
All right. The other part, so we've talked about preventative care and we've talked about the large care sharing. Most people don't have, what we find when we talk to employees, don't have $1,000 set aside to cover for a medical emergency. And then that's where these type products kick in. Colonial Life offers what we call accident insurance. And basically what that does is cover you if an accident happens to you. If you break a leg, you have an open laceration, you have to go to the emergency room to get stitches. Depending on the level policy you have, it will pay you dollars from $1 based on what you have, what kind of procedures you have. Obviously, if you break a hip, it's going to pay more than if you cut a finger. But what it does is give you money to help pay for any out-of-pocket medical cost you have if you were to have an accident. Now, I'm emphasizing accident. This has to do with accidents. It does not have anything to do with if you have any kind of heart attack or anything like that. These only cover accident type problems. These are products that pay directly to you. They do not pay the provider, meaning the hospital or the emergency room. You can use these funds as you see fit. All of these products that I'm about to talk to you about, you can purchase even if you have health insurance already. Okay, so it's a supplement to what you already have. So even if you don't do something with us on the large cost by Sedera, or if you choose not to do the Sedera, you can still do these in addition to. So one does not require you to do the other. And I just want to make sure that that you totally understand that. Another product that we offer is called critical illness. It pays you an indemnity. Basically, you purchase amounts anywhere from $5,000 to $75,000. If you are diagnosed with a heart attack, stroke, or any kind of major organ failure, it will pay you that specified amount. So if, let's just say you have a $20,000 critical illness and you have chest pains and you go to the emergency room and the doctor says you had a mild stroke or you had a mild heart attack, you may not have had any damage. That goes on your record. You had a heart attack. So now you have had an event. You would file that claim with Colonial Life and they would pay you $20,000. You may not have occurred more than $5,000 or $6,000 worth of expenses going to the emergency room. You may not have occurred any if you have other health insurance where you only have like a $500 deductible. It's still going to pay you the $20,000. It's there for you to use as you see fit. We cannot tell you what to spend the money on. It is actually your benefit. A lot of people do these instead of disability because sometimes you may be off work for a period of time. It can help you pay for your homeowners. It can pay for your rent. It can pay for your mortgage payment. car payments, etc. Here again, you can use it any way you see fit. Also, in this policy, we have a built-in wellness. And so if you go to the doctor once a year to have blood work done, mammograms, anything like that, it's going to pay you a $50 wellness for going for that procedure. We want you to stay healthy, and you're going to find that wellness is built into a lot of the products that we're going to talk about. The second product is cancer insurance. Gentlemen, 1 out of 2 of us at some point in our life are going to get diagnosed with cancer. For all of us, with women, it's 1 out of 3. It's a policy that I own. It's in my family tree. It works a little different than the critical illness. It does have a lump sum indemnity. That could be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, depending on what you choose. But what this does is it continues to pay as you have procedures done. So if you are going through chemotherapy, if you're having to have MRIs, whatever it may be, it's going to pay as you have those procedures done. Let's say you have to travel out of state to get radiation because you want to go to a specific doctor. It's going to pay for airline tickets. It's going to pay for hotel rooms. There's a number of different things that it will pay for that will reimburse you for your cost. If you get cancer, you're going to get the one-time indemnity, but it's going to continue to pay as you have procedures done. It's not something that is canceled like car insurance once you have an accident. This stuff will continue to pay as you are treated. Then we will have disability available. A couple of things I want to point out about disability. You can only cover up to 60% of your income. It is customizable based on whether you want the period of waiting, like 0 for accident, 30 days for illness. It can be from 0 to 7, 7 to 30. You can customize this based on what you want, and you can select the payout period anywhere from 3 months to 24 months. A lot of people ask the question, well, why don't you go longer than 24 months? Well, generally, if you're disabled for 24 months, you're already applying for your Social Security. So your disability there. And to be honest with you, if you were to pay for a premium of 24 months, you would not want to pay for that. It also has a wellness built into it. Here again, it's totally customizable based on your specific needs. There is also a product called hospital confinement. It is similar to gap insurance with your car. So let's just take one of these policies that we talked about with Sedera, and you do the health cost sharing that has $2,500 out of pocket expense up front, and you are checked into the hospital. This will give you the ability to start collecting from $1. You can choose the amounts. Let's say that you chose an amount that's going to pay up to $1,000. So now your out-of-pocket max is only going to be $1,500. So with that being said, this pays again directly to you. It does not pay the hospital. So if you do have this hospital confinement and you already have health insurance, and you have several different procedures done, you may collect $4,000 or $5,000 from your hospital confinement insurance and may only be out of pocket $500 from your health insurance. So you will still get paid that over and above whatever your health insurance pays. Then we have term life and whole life. Most people are familiar with these things. Term life, you can lock into a price for 20 to 30 years, depending on your age. Term means it pays upon your death benefit, whatever amount that you select, and you can select anywhere from 10,000 to nearly as much as you want to pay for. And it pays upon your death. And the rate would be the same for the amount of term that you purchase for. So let's say you're 30 years old and you purchase a 30-year term. Your rate is based on your 30-year age. And when you're 60, you will still be paying the same rate for that same amount of coverage. Whole life is a little different. It's more like owning your home versus renting your home. It does build cash value, and it covers you up to age 100. So it's a little different. It's a little more expensive because it does build cash value. But there are two products that are used quite often in supplement of other type health plans. Then the last one I want to talk to you about is the most popular. It's dental insurance. What we use is dental insurance that has a vision rider in it. So it's got your dental and vision all built into the same policy. It also has rollover benefits. And generally, most people choose our $2,000 out of pocket for major services. And what that means, let's say that you don't have any bridge work, no cavities, any kind of major work done the first year. It's going to take a large portion of your unused balance and roll it over to the next year. So what I tell people is, if you're going to have some major work done inside your mouth, plan for it. And let the product roll over so that you can maximize the amount of savings that you can get for the following year. A lot of times it's an emergency and you can't plan for it, but if it's something you can plan for, you definitely want to take advantage of that rollover benefit. A couple of things I want to point out on all these last products that I talked about. The pricing is based on when you take the product out. So if you enroll this December and you keep it for the next 15 years, the price never changes. It stays the same. And I'll give you an example. I used to work in the furniture industry, and I took out my disability, my cancer, and my critical illness at that time. I was about 10 years younger. And when I chose to take a different career, I had the opportunity to purchase this stuff through Colonial Life, but I chose not to. I chose to keep the plans that I had because some of them are age banded, and I was paying the rates based on my younger age. And now that I'm an old man of 55, I don't want to have to pay the rates for a 55-year-old. So once you take these out, they are yours as long as you continue to pay the premium, and the price will not increase. Ryan, I think I've covered the products in the general ways that they work. I'm sure some people have some questions, and I'll try to answer them if it's not too specific to a need that they will need to talk to a benefits counselor about.
All right, does anybody have any general questions for Jeff? So I've got one, Jeff. So let's say I have the Sedera policy, and let's say it's $2,500 my initial unshareable amount. So I have an event, I get hit by a bus or something, right? Or no, let's say I have a heart attack. Okay, I have an event and I have to go to the hospital for and all this stuff, and obviously the bills are going to be humongous. But I also have the is it the critical illness policy for, let's say that's 20,000, like you said. Mm-hmm. So I'm out of pocket 2,500, no matter how much my bills are to a degree. Say I have $100,000 worth of bills or something. I'm out of pocket 2,500, but then I get 20,000.
You would get an additional $20,000 check that will be made out to you. Actually, it just will be direct deposited into your account. Everything has apps that you can file the claim through the app. And then what they do is they just go and confirm with your medical records through your doctor that in fact that did happen. And once that's confirmed, you will have a $20,000 check that is deposited in your account. A lot of people ask me, well, how long does that take? Well, once you file a claim, if it's something we have to confirm with the doctor, generally we can have you paid within 24 to 48 hours.
Okay. Thank you. And then I also could make that the same amount. I could also do the $5,000 thing and then do $5,000 worth of payback. So I'd come out even.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. I'm getting a lot of questions from the chat. And I got some before this meeting about like hard copies of stuff. You have brochure type things that you can?
Yes, I have electronic brochures that I'll be more than glad to send out to everyone if they want to know details. We can actually even schedule a quick a benefits counseling session, but I'll be more than glad to send all that stuff out electronically. I can also send out some general pricing so they'll have an idea of exactly what it's cost. I can tell you all the last products that I talked about, we're talking about dollars per month. The preventative care, I think, starts at around $70 or $75. And then the large cost sharing is going to vary depending on the age of the individual and that sort of thing. But what I can tell you that the cost of these is significantly less than a traditional medical plan, which is why I did it. I mean, I chose to get involved in a cost sharing plan because my wife and I both are 1099 employees, and we were going to be spending around $1,000 a month to get a fairly decent health insurance policy. And it just didn't make sense. And what we did find out too, and I coach people on this all the time, there are two different prices out there when you go to a doctor. There's a cash price, and then there's a copay price. And what I found, and this is truly the truth from me, is I used to have through my old employer a really good health insurance policy. It had a nice copay, and to see my specialist, to see my heart doctor, and my copay was $75. And when I went into this cost sharing plan, obviously I have to pay for my doctor's visits because I'm out of pocket the first money. So I go in and I ask the question, I said, well, what's the cash price? And I was expecting them to say $150, $175, something like that. They said $50. And I said, are you kidding me? And they said no. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm paying all this money for health insurance. My copay is $75, and I come in and I do a cash price and it's $50. And that just made up my mind right there. This is the way to go. It is a little outside the box from a traditional standpoint, but it is growing in traction. And what's great about it is that we can offer these type things to people like yourself that are 1099 independent contractors.
Jeff, I'm getting a lot of questions about pre-existing conditions.
Okay. Pre-existing is going to depend on which parts of this that you're talking about. If you're talking about the cost sharing, they do look back 3 years. It does not mean that you cannot have the coverage. And that's really a question for your benefits counselor because everyone is different based on the issue that they have. And I don't want to say something that's misleading. I will tell you, as far as any of the supplemental products like the accident, the critical illness, cancer, they do a 12-month look back. And what that means is if you've been treated within the past 12 months, they want a 12-month non-treated area before they're going to pay. It doesn't mean you're excluded from the product. It just means you have to be free and clear from it. So if you had a heart attack and you haven't had any issues for 10 months, then you've got another 2 months that you've got to wait before it would actually kick in. You can go ahead and purchase the product. It just will not pay for a heart attack. Now, if you had another different kind of major organ failure, it would pay.
Okay. I got two questions here. One is about out of state is fine. You work with people out of state as well. This covers everything.
It covers all 50 states. Yes.
Okay. And I've got one about Medicare supplements.
Medicare supplements, here again, it depends on what you're doing. That's really a question for a benefits counselor. I don't want to overspeak what I can answer intelligently, but there are policies that you can purchase alongside your Medishare or Medicare, whatever you're purchasing.
Okay. So, so just to be clear on the pre-existing thing, if I had cancer, but I've been in remission for 5 years, I could theoretically do it.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have, I'm trying to keep up with these questions on chat.
I see one that, what is the enrollment deadline? We're going to open the enrollment for January 1st effective anytime between now and the end of the year. What I would suggest, and maybe Ryan can send out all my information, is to either call or send me an email as to your contact information. And what I will do is have a benefits counselor reach out to you and schedule a time to have a consultation. And they generally take 10 to 15 minutes, depending on your interest level. You may have a ton of questions and it could take 30 or 45 minutes. But generally they're relatively quick consultations, and they can actually enroll you co-browsing or telephonically while they're speaking to you.
Okay, and the next question is about family members, and yes, you can include your family members with you on these plans. But Jeff, I want to say something about Jeff here. We have people on here from I think Jarrett, not to point anybody out, but Jarrett's in his very early 20s, and we've got some who are even older than Jeff himself. And we have males and females, and we have all different sizes of families and everything else. You really need to talk to your benefits counselor, even if you don't think any of this is going to be great for you, or if you think all of it will be great for you. Either way, you really need to sit down, because Jeff can't talk in any kind of, we all are such different health, pre-existing conditions, no pre-existing. I only care about, I don't go to a doctor very often as I should. I'm embarrassed to admit. But I do want if I get hit by a bus, I want myself and my family to be covered and all that stuff. So some of us want to go to the doctor once a month, and some of us never want to go to the doctor. And so there's all kinds of different things out there, and everything is so specifically, it's a la carte. Some of us will take this and some of us take that. Some of it's $1 something, or a couple dollars a month, and some of it's, as much as you want to spend. So, please meet individually. It's tough for Jeff to answer these questions, is what I'm getting at. So I appreciate him trying to do this. And it's tough for him to even explain what they offer, because they offer so much and in such different areas. So please keep that in mind. And I like all these general questions, like about family members, like about Medicare supplements, that kind of stuff. But keep in mind, any of these, first of all, don't share anything personal on this call, but also keep in mind that many of these things, it's hard for him to discuss everything. So meet with your benefits counselor.
One thing I do, when you said you don't go to the doctor as much as you can, I go for a physical twice a year, and the fact that I have a critical illness and a cancer policy and a disability, which all pay in wellness, when I go to that doctor that one time, I have a $50 wellness in each one of them. So when I file my wellness, I get 150 back. So another way you can look at some of this stuff, and Ryan's right, a critical illness policy, depending on your age, is probably going to run less than $20 a month, probably more like $10 or $15. And it's got a built-in wellness. So if you go to the doctor for your lab work once a year, just think about it like this. Yeah, but I'm going to get $50 back just for going, even though my wellness is included in my normal healthcare policy. So that almost pays for nearly a third of the policy that you're purchasing. So there's many ways to customize these things based on your specific needs. And that's why a benefits counselor sits down, they talk to you, they want to talk to you about your lifestyle, whether it's an active lifestyle, non-active lifestyle. If you don't have a very active lifestyle, you don't want an accident policy. But if you're an active person doing things a lot, then the chances are you're going to twist an ankle at some point, or you may break a leg or a hand. You know, if we're an older person, there's a very good chance we're going to fall, and we're going to need something to help us cover that. And even with a disability, you know, the wealthiest of all of us don't want to tap into their savings if something like this happens, particularly when you can hedge it with a very inexpensive coverage. Are there any other questions? I'll be glad to try to answer them.
No real questions, just, you know, it'd be nice to get your information so we can go ahead and get this set up. And
okay. For those of you guys that want the information, what I can do, Ryan, is I can just send you an electronic version of some of this stuff, like a little welcome packet. People can take a look at it, and then if you want to schedule your consultation, just let us know, and then we'll reach out and do it at your convenience. Here again, our counselors can talk early in the morning, late in the night. They can do it on the weekends. They'll do it at your convenience.
Okay. So yeah, so we need that information about the counselors. We need to know. So you'll send me an email, and I will send it to everybody about how to set these up.
Sure.
Okay. You guys keep an eye out on your emails. He'll send some the electronic brochures and the information about how to set up your individual appointments as well. Okay. That sound good for everybody?
sounds good.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate it. We'll go from there. Thank you everybody for coming in. We're very proud to set you guys up with this. Hopefully this all works out for you guys. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Bye, guys.